Hey, what's up everybody? Killing for Company, my name is Kellen, and today we've got an entry into the Cloudy Milder top 10 album covers that aren't Iron Maiden thread that's been going around. The way I've decided to structure mine is I have 5 album covers that are kind of classic or iconic. Some other YouTubers I have seen include them on their lists, but they are equally iconic for me, and I thought deserved to be mentioned. After that, I've got 5 album covers or some particular artists that I want to talk about that have happened in the past decade or so. So that's how I decided to structure this. Anyway, I've enjoyed watching them, and I will link to Cloudy's original entry if you are interested in joining yourself or you want to check that out. But to get us rolling here, in the background we are listening to Midnight Odyssey, The Golden Orb. This easily could have made my list for top albums or album covers, but you know, I can only have so many, so that'll be playing in the background for us, and we're gonna get things started here with a classic that I'm sure most people will recognize. This is Creator, Pleasure to Kill, 1986, classic thrash, almost proto death metal record, and I think that's what stands out for me on this one, is the fact that it kind of is an introduction to extreme metal. When I was getting into the genre as a whole, you look at that album cover and it's just like, this is not your typical thrash record, and it's very much like a proto-death record. So, iconic cover. Most people probably know this one, recognize it, but anyway, Pleasure to Kill, Creator, keep this rolling. Okay, so the first 5 I'm going to bring out for you are the classic records. Let me get these a little bit organized for me. Okay, so the next 4 are all the classic. Start here next with Open the Gates, Manila Road. This album cover, now it was done by the same artist who did the Deluge. So this is 85, I believe, and Deluge is 86. But really cool sort of sword and sorcery. You can see like pulling from the same kind of artistic style that Ken Kelly, Frank Franzetta kind of artwork, and that pairs perfectly with another choice. I think Chromium Dioxide talked about this, Kirith Ungol. I don't want to get that wrong, or else Alan over at Let's Talk Metal is going to get angry with me, but Kirith Ungol's One Foot in Hell. What's going on here? Like, this is clearly like a there's very little humor for me on this one, but this kind of insect god or king, queen, don't know the gender of the insect involved on this one, but amazing album cover. Like, love the drama with the contrast, like a high contrast album cover there. Really cool stuff, but at the same time a little bit confused. Like, is this figure challenging or honoring? I don't know what the relationship between these two figures are. Clearly you just have a badass over here and Open the Gates, but the One Foot in Hell album cover, a little bit of confusion. Anyway, 2 favorites, 80, I think both are 85 actually. So if you're into epic heavy metal, an amazing year, 2 killer releases with amazing album covers. Next up, American power metal classic for me, Hellstar, Nosferatu. This one isn't busy, right? In the sense it's not like tons of intricacy here. There's just your essential Nosferatu figure. And I think, I don't, I'm not an artist myself, but I would imagine getting, not only being able to depict like the intensity of a figure, right? So how do you draw the sort of Nosferatu face, but like the distance from the face to the hand, and have that sort of being your action and in essence offering this kind of threat on an album cover, like that's freaky as hell. And they absolutely nailed it. You are scrolling through records in the store and this one comes around, that's definitely going to grab your attention. Super cool album cover. Iconic in my mind. One of the best American power metal album covers ever. And that moves into another very iconic album cover for me, but for a very different reason. So this is Saint Vitus and Born Too Late. What do you want to say here other than it's not really it's a break in the narrative that we talk about, I think, album art. It's just the color choice, right? It's I don't want to say they were deliberately attempting to be contrarian, but everything about this is just right. Stripped down, you have your stained glass sort of church, cross in the middle there. Yellow Born Too Late, and then that pink, purplish color, right? Whatever you want to call it. It's such like it's so antithetical to so much of what you think about with Doom, right? Or a lot of other metal album covers, right? And in that sense, it sort of struck a chord with me, and to me also sets itself apart from so many of the peers at the time, right? He's like, it doesn't look like other Doom album covers or other extreme metal album covers, but you see that, and it's immediately you recognize it. Right, a different way to talk about album art, right? It's not necessarily, it's unique and sort of contrasting personality is what makes it so iconic, not necessarily the prowess of the art involved. Okay, so now we're going to get into the more recent album covers. Turn that a little bit. First one I have for you. Once again, I'm going to list all the artists below here in editing, just so for the sake of me not getting hung up on trying to pronounce everything correctly. I did make notes for this, so sorry if you hear my cat here. 1 second. So this is Imprecation, and this is going to start us off in the more recent. I believe this is 2018, and Dominacho ad Bestias. Imprecation has a relationship. They've had previous albums done in terms of the artwork by Chris Moyen, who's is famous for that Beherit, Archgoat, black, white, red, simple color scheme, sort of graphic satanic, death metal, war metal, what you want to call it. And this is not done by him, but you can tell the artist involved is clearly inspired by his work. And it's an album cover where you are looking at it from a distance, and it's kind of, you get a little bit of what's going on, but the more you bring it in and take a look, there's tons of action going on here. There's just more to appreciate, and the level of detail in terms of all the figures and how they're interacting, and this sort of maelstrom of satanic violence. Really cool. You can tell it's someone who was clearly inspired by someone and wanted to kind of, while simultaneously doing something all their own, pay homage to those who influenced them. So, Imprecation, 2018. Next up, let me get this chunk of albums over here. I have got yes, okay. So I'm preparing to do a deep dive with Jeff over at Metal Madness 66 and Peter from Metal Vault and Brian Arkham, all talking about Blue Ausnord. This is Saturnarian poetry from Memoria Vetustra. This is part of the third in the trilogy. Necrolord is the artist, and I mean, one of the best black metal album covers over the past decade, from an iconic black metal album artist. And if someone were to say to me, like, could you describe, you know, the pagan or folk influence on black metal, and you couldn't find the words, but someone were to give you this album artwork and you were like, this is kind of the aesthetic that we're aiming for, I think, you know, it's iconic in that regard. Like, it completely articulates to some degree, or to a large degree, what in my mind that kind of subgenre within black metal is. And I don't think Blue Ausnord comfortably falls in that sort of pagan or folk black metal territory. And I'll get into that during the deep dive, but I think it's fair to say the Memoria Vetustra trilogy is the closest thing that Blue Ausnord ever came to in terms of being associated with that kind of subgenre. And this album cover, you know, closes the trilogy out and is the perfect little touchstone to end it on. So, really cool one there. The treatment here by Dedamir Morty is beautiful. Like, I don't want to get into this packaging because that's not really the point of this video, but you can tell, like, there's tons of cool stuff to enjoy inside. So, anyway, moving on. Okay, next one. Don't know how people stay so organized during these videos when you've got like a mountain of records floating around. This is Cult of a Cult. This one's a little bit different, some sludge. So I believe they're from France. And this one is entitled 5 Degrees of Insanity. And in this one, it has these like faces transforming. So it exists in 5 movements: alcoholic, nihilistic, psychotic, misanthropic, satanic. And you can see it begins here over at alcoholic, and as it moves to nihilistic, psychotic, misanthropic, satanic, right? Like they slightly change the eyes, ears, or not ears, but eyes, mouth, the shading, the teeth, the size of the pupils, the colors in their eyes, sort of the eyelids. I thought that was a cool idea to kind of make that like transformation visible in the album artwork as it sort of moves across there. So really dig this one from 2015, I think. And we're going to close this out with 2 artists that I wanted to highlight. This is kind of inspired by what Anthony over at the Metal Miners did, where he kind of focused his entire episode on the artwork from Adam Burke, I believe is his name. But there were 2 artists that I consistently sort of look to because I enjoy their contribution to metal releases. So the first one is Daniel Cosweta. or Daniel Desecrator, I think is he known by now. This Quickscore release, entitled Poison Palinopsia from 2021, I talked about in the Metal Tag video as my favorite album art of the year. There were a few that competed for it, but I ended up giving it to Quickscore here. And this is Perdition Temple, I think from 2020, but same artist. Daniel tends to concentrate on this kind of Black Death genre, but he, I think, gives it a sort of, I don't want to say like mature, but a practiced, high degree of art in terms of, instead of just moving in something that's too predictable, like this is going to be, the sort of goat figure and the color scheme here you're going to get from a lot of these records, but his level of detail and attention is far and above what you traditionally get. And Perdition Temple, like, great band. This is my favorite release by them. We've got a new one here in 2020, or 2022, I'm sorry. But I haven't heard quite, I haven't sat down with them yet, but this is so far my favorite Perdition Temple record, and getting Daniel to do the artwork here was like a little bonus on top. And then, this one is just wild. This album, completely meets the character of the album. I talked about this in the Metal Tag, but wild stuff. So Daniel Cosweta, highlight his, work. And the last one here is, I don't want to get this, I'm going to mess up this name. But he's Polish, and we're just going to go wing it here with Zignu Bilock. And once again, this could have been favorite album cover of 2021. This is Stargazer's Psychic Secretions. Now the layout choice here to go with a metallic silver, perfect. The contrast between the black in the background and this sort of etched metallic silver is so detailed. I'm going to take another photo for you, or a short video while I'm talking about it, to kind of highlight all the intricacy and detail that went into this, because it's hard to, the metallic nature of and the sort of gloss sheen to this makes it difficult to sort of get in the light, in my opinion. But Bilock has done a bunch of album covers, and he's not quite on the like Mark Riddick, Justin Bieber level yet, but he's done, higher profile metal bands like Ghost. He's done multiple covers for them. But one that's a little bit older and a favorite of mine is done by Bilock, is for the band Azareth, and this is Blasphemer's Maledictions from 2012. This is on Witching Hour Productions. This was a limited run. There's 666 of these. This is number 259, I believe, on Witching Hour Productions. It has recently been reissued, but you didn't get the art. We don't get the artwork on the reissue, and it's you're missing out, because this album artwork is beautiful to me, and the kind of like almost the clouds that so almost serve as like wings to this figure, and it all moves to the eye, this golden sort of pillar with the eye at the top. The album is on like a cloudy silver and gold, so it all comes together. It's a beautiful package. And if you don't know Azareth, and you're on the fence about a band like Behemoth, you can skip Behemoth and listen to Azareth, please. This is Blasphemer's Malediction. I guarantee you'll enjoy it more than than some of the Behemoth records. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know. But anyway, that's all I got for you. Perfect ending. As I'm getting out of here, I just want to say there was a heavy Metallurgy episode with Necrotic Nick, and they spent like 3 hours talking about album artwork. So if you are not getting enough of great album art and you want to head over for a long discussion on the subject, I will link to that one below, along with the Cloudy Milder original entry for this thread if you want to join in yourself. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.